Hi, everybody. All right, I'm going to pause for 1 second while I get us all set up. Hi, everybody. It's me, Sam Bennett from theorganizedartistcompany.com, and welcome to this, our Sam Unscripted. This is me coming to you live with no agenda, no plan, no teaching, no pitch, no prep, no nothing. It is my effort to share with you some of my spiritual practice, to give you a bit of an oasis in this world of overwhelm, this world of intensity, this world of Facebook, this world of Zoom, and for us just to hang out for a minute, to pray, to be together, to be quiet inside of ourselves, and then to talk about whatever it is there is to talk about. You know, I'll be here to answer your questions, or not answer questions if they're unanswerable questions. And, you know, we'll just see where it goes. This is a big experiment, but I'm really pleased and delighted that you all trust me enough to show up for this. We've had quite a lot of people showing up the last couple of weeks, so, and I'm hoping that this will grow. As you can hear, I'm a little unwell. I have bronchitis, so but I have tea, I have medicine, I have herbs and tinctures. I've got my inhaler, I've got cough drops. I think I'll be okay. So let's start. Yeah, let's start with a prayer. Let's start just centering in and seeing what there is to see, what there is to be communicated in this moment. I'm going to take off my glasses for this. All right, you ready? Shift around in your chair so that your body knows that this is a little different than everything else. If you want to place your hands up in an attitude of receiving, or maybe you want to clasp them together, put them on your body or on your face, on your belly. Let your belly go really poochy soft. It's the anti-Spanx. Let your belly relax. Let your shoulders drop down and back. Soften your gaze. Soften and drop your jaw. See if you can't open up the back of your neck just a little bit. See if you can get a little space back there. And I'm going to talk us through some breathing. We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. We'll do that 3 times, and then I'll just lead us through a little meditation prayer for as long as that takes. And then I'll bring us back, and then we'll talk about whatever we have to talk about. You ready? Good. Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want you to imagine that within you there is a core of light, like the heartwood of a tree, and it extends upward through your spine and up out your head, and it connects you to the sky, to the stars. We are made of star stuff. The same thing that makes up the stars and the planets and the universe makes us up. So we are connected. We are the same as the rest of the universe. We feel the connection to that, and we see that beam of light also extend down into the earth and connecting us with the earth that is also made of the same stuff we are. You can maybe feel that light more strongly. You can pulse into it a little bit. See if you can't make it grow. Can you make it even grow past your physical self? So maybe it's like you're standing inside a column of light. You can play around with the color of the light. You can feel its warmth and its gentleness, its sustaining intensity. Let that column be whatever size it wants to be. And feel your body relax around it. Let that column of light support you. And imagine too that extending out from you, from all your points of contact, maybe from your eyes, from your fingers, from your hips, from your feet, there are other beams of light extending out, like the bits of a dandelion or the spokes on an umbrella. And those bits of light are connecting you with the potentiality of all things. It's connecting you with other people. It's connecting you with other ideas. And we imagine, here's us in our column of light, us in the center of our world, in the center of our life. And we can start to picture and imagine everyone else in the center of their life and their column of light. And maybe the spokes coming off of them. And we see the world illuminated by these columns of light, these balls of light walking around. And we see the animals and the trees and the plants and their beams of light. We see the rocks and the minerals that also have light in them. And we see how all of these together knit into a giant net. Our beams intercross, they interlink. They are in fact the same light, beaming in different directions. And this giant net supports all of us. It is all of us. This net is God expressing through us as us. This net is the divine in action. We cannot be separate from this net of energy. Even when we die, our energy remains as part of this net. It transforms, but it is not gone away. Energy transforms, it does not disappear. Take a moment to feel this net all around you. Maybe you want to lean back into the net and allow it to support you. Maybe you've been trying to push at it. Maybe you've been yelling at it, wanting it to change. Maybe this is a moment to relax into it, to trust that this net is always there for you. It has always supported you. That's all it does, is support you. That's all it knows how to do, is support you. And so it has always been from when the first cells divided. This net supported you. Feel that support. Feel yourself cradled and loved by this net. And maybe you've been told that you were too big, that you had too much energy. Go ahead and try to flood that net with energy. Try to give that net everything you have. Try to outshine the net. You can't. You cannot be too much for the net. You cannot be too complicated. You cannot be too overwhelming. You cannot be too emotional. You cannot be too heartbroken. You cannot be too demanding. You are only you, and the net feels you and finds you wherever you are. There is no corner of your soul so dark that the net's light does not shine. You are never alone. You are never abandoned. You are celebrated. You are safe. And maybe you want something in your life. Maybe you have a project or a dream. Maybe you need money. Go ahead and tug on the net. Pull on it a little bit. You can take it. You're not going to break it. Maybe you can shift your body and notice how the lines of the net shift along with you, placing you in a different alignment to the things that you want and need. Anytime you want something, focus on it and then shift. Shift. You're not going to get it if you don't shift. You might get it, but it's going to take a long time. Shift. Shift your heart, shift your mind, shift your feet. Ask, inquire, lean in, pull, push, relax, envelop. Whatever you want to do with the net, it is yours to do. You can't hurt it, you can't break it, you can't hurt its feelings. It's never going to get mad at you. You are it and it is you. And it has always given you everything you need. Not always everything you want, but everything you need. So we enjoy the peacefulness of knowing that all our needs are met. Each breath is met with breath. Each light is met with light. We feel our connectedness to all other people. There is no difference between us. The differences are illusions. We let those illusions go. And when we see each other on the street, we say, hello, my sister. Hello, my brother. Hello, me. There I am. Even in the people we disagree with, the people we disapprove of, the people we are hurt by, we say, hello, me. There I am. I know you. There is only ever one of us. We are all part and parcel of this divine net. And so for this endless, interweaving, throbbing, shining, beaming, electric, energizing net of life, we say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this. Let's take one more breath to come back to here. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. One of my VIP clients requested that I talk about the net a little bit, so I thought I would lead off with that. She's in my 365 Club Pro program, so I was excited to have the opportunity to talk to you all about what I think about when I think about God. I talk a lot about the personality of God, you know, like God called me this morning. She said everything's gonna be fine. You know, I talk about my boyfriend Jesus a lot. I like to go to church. I like a lot of different religious constructs. I was raised United Church of Christ, which is a super liberal Christian. We love everybody. But I'm pretty wide open when it comes to form around religion. And So yeah, I have a lot of ways in which I talked about God as more as a character or as a way to tell stories than anything else. But when I actually think about God and what God is, that's what I think of, is that net. So let's see. Oh, Sabine says, thank you. That was beautiful. You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you. Good. So how are all of you? What's happening for you? What's coming up for you? What's alive for you? What questions do you have for me? What are you wondering about? If you are indeed supported and connected to all things, and all things are possible for you, what might you want? And what might be the net-centric way to do it? What might be the net-centric way to go about it? What's the way to go about it that's not about pushing or demanding or being, salesy or weird or desperate? What's the way to get what you want that is aligned, that is in flow, that is easy and relaxed, that is joyful, that is unexpected and delightful? As you think about your goals for 2018, what would that look like for you? And maybe you get a vision in your mind and maybe you want to doodle it, maybe you want to draw it. I know a lot of you think better when your hands are busy, so I support you in drawing or doodling or making notes. And please do, I know it's easy to feel like, oh, you're going to remember stuff forever, but believe me, if you do not write it down, you will not remember it. I don't care how intense it is. I don't care what a giant epiphany it is. If it's not, if you don't put it into form, if you don't record it in some way and allow yourself to interact with it in a way that's outside of your head, it's going to slip in there with, it's going to disappear. So, good. Any other questions? Any thoughts or opinions? Crystal says, thanks for that. Hope you feel better soon. Oh, that's weird. This one never rings. How strange. Go away. Go away. I'm so glad it didn't happen while I was praying, although if it had. I never give anyone this landline because I only use it for like when I'm teaching, or like later today I have a podcast interview and they're going to want to call me on this line. Okay, I think it's stopped now. Good. All right. Any other thoughts or questions? How are you guys doing over there? There's quite a few of you here. Are you all just basking? Are you just basking in the net and feeling totally Pacific? I will tell you one way to think about something you want. I've talked to a lot of people recently who have a financial need. Like, so he says, not the net calling. It could be the net calling. It could have been the net. It's the net calls. Pick up. When you have a specific financial need, you've got a bill that's due. You've got a website you want to put up. You've got a project you want to start. You've got a gift you want to get for someone, and it seems like the money's not there. One of the most helpful things I learned about how to think about that is to remember that there isn't really such a thing as an absence of something without there being the presence of something. I learned this from one of my mentors, David Nagel. I think he learned it from Bob Proctor, who I'm sure learned it from others. This is not any individual's particular wisdom. But to think of it as like a missing puzzle piece. So if I need $10,000, if there's a need for $10,000 right here, well, then there must be $10,000. And it must be right here, right? It must be right in front of me. It must fit into that spot. You can't have the need for the thing without the thing. And you can't And I'm not sure that you can have the dream of the thing without the ability to bring to fruition the dream of the thing, right? We don't want the things we can't do, really, you know? And don't get too literal about this, but you know what I mean, right? You know, I don't have a dream of you know, raising the world's greatest beets. You know, if I did, I would probably have the mechanism by which to raise beets. That's not a good example. Anyway, when you find yourself in need, I find it a much more productive question to say, okay, where is it? Not I need it and I don't have it. Not, oh no, but where is it? It must be here, so where is it? And it's probably right in front of me, and I can probably get it with just a 1 degree flip, just a 1 degree shift in how I am being, behaving, what I'm asking for, what I'm looking for. Because, you know, it's one of the beautiful things about the brain is it is great at finding what it's looking for. So if you're looking for, I don't have enough, your brain will find more evidence for you not having enough. But if it's looking for $10,000, it's pretty good at finding $10,000. So, you know, and I don't mean this in like a Pollyanna, pink glasses, like, it's all good, I'm sure it's here. Now, like, no, really, you have to go find, you know, you got to do it. But coming at it from the attitude of, where is it? You know, it's like looking into an empty pantry and you're like, oh, there's no food, there's nothing to eat. As opposed to like, well, there's 3 crackers and some peanut butter. Like, I'm sure I can do something with that. Like, what can I do? What is possible? Where is the answer? Let's assume there's an answer. And let's assume there's an easy answer. So what's the easy way? What's the easy way? What's the way that's connected to the net? What's the way that leverages the natural energy, the natural movement of the universe? What's the way that's aligned with the kind of person that I am and the way in which I behave in the world? It starts to make life a lot easier. Martin says, thank you for the beautiful meditation. My pleasure. Thank you for being here, Martin. Somebody says, thank you for love the beat example. Okay, good. So maybe not so bad. Kay says, usually I set goals, including creative goals, for every year, but this year I'm having trouble setting goals. Why? Also got a good chuckle about the beats. Okay, good. Well, you know, I don't know why. It may be just not the right time. You know, just like in agriculture, sometimes the field's got to lay fallow, you know? Sometimes you have to have a period of time in which it looks like nothing's happening, particularly for creative people. You know, we need our downtime, we need our daydreaming time, we need our white space. And sometimes we criticize ourselves a lot for that. I hear this a lot from you guys, like, oh my God, I haven't done anything, or I'm procrastinating, I've been putting this off forever. It's like, well, maybe you've been putting it off, and maybe you're procrastinating, but it's also possible that it's just sort of been in the rock tumbler, you know, that you're working on it kind of in a subterranean way, and it's just not ready to come out yet. So Kay, what I've done when I'm in a state like that, a slight state of confusion, is to just frame it again really positively. Like, I wonder what will happen that's going to bring my goals to me. I cannot wait to see where my goals are. I always have them, so I'm sure they're here. I'm sure they're coming. I'm sure there's going to be some fantastic invitation that's arriving any minute now that's going to indicate to me what's next for me. And I'm just going to sit here in happy anticipation until that moment comes. And if anybody asks, you know, how are you? What are your goals for this year? You can go, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have no idea. but I cannot wait to find out. And so again, we come at it from a point of view of it's here, it's coming, it's happened, it's done. I may not quite have gotten the memo yet, but I'm sure I will any minute. So tell me if that helps you. Let me check over onto Facebook. Allison says that thing about getting it outside of your head on paper so you and the world can interact with it. That's what I picked up on the 365 call yesterday. Yes, Allison is also in the pro program, and yes, thank you. It's incredibly important. Says inspiration was calling. Yes, probably. Kimberly says, what is the easy way? Love that. Yes, helpful. Good. Okay, says, excellent response. Thank you. My pleasure. Let's see, there's some questions here. Colleen says, came to my desk crying in frustration in front of the team I led. After crying in frustration in front of the team I lead, and the email for this was waiting for me, so I'm here in semi-fetal in the net just listening. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Those are rough days. Those are rough days. But, you know, we get broken. We get broken. We get broken open. And there isn't a right way. There isn't a right way to lead a team. There isn't a right way to break your heart. There isn't a right way to be an adult. You know, it's going to go the way it goes. And especially when you have when you have a real job. It's one thing when you're an entrepreneur and you're sort of responsible for the whole thing all by yourself. But when you're part of a bigger corporation, when you're part of a bigger team, you know, you really are. There really is an internal net there. So you can trust them to support you. And trust that it's unfolding the way it does, and that being human with each other is what we're here to do. Samantha says, how can the net help shift the larger conversation that is going on in our world from smallness to having bigger and braver hearts to include and celebrate all of us, to love on one another and behold one another and hold possibility for one another? What do you think that might look like within the net? That's a beautiful question. And I don't know that I know. Although it's part of why I'm doing this. Part of why I started doing this was because I didn't want to. I felt this deep reluctance inside of me that looks like a voice going, no, 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 don't do it, don't do it. And the more I hear the don't do it voice, the more I know I have to do it, the more I know I'm onto something probably kind of big. So I'm doing it because I don't want to do it. But I'm also doing it in an effort to sort of balance out some of the conversation that I see, particularly on Facebook, but also in the world. You know, when I see people being so divisive, when I see people being so small, when I see people feeling so separate, and what hurts me is when I see my brothers and sisters in the personal development community and in the liberal arts community and, you know, as part of the free to be you and me, you know, school of thought. And all of a sudden, these people are saying, unfriend me if you voted for this person, and fuck those people and these assholes, and name calling and mean-spiritedness. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't call names. We never call names. I don't care what somebody's done to you. I don't care how ridiculous looking they are. I don't care how true your accusations are. We don't call names. That's not who we were raised to be. That is not part of our spiritual beliefs. And when you sit there and say, oh, I'm a spiritual person, I'm a liberal person, I'm a creative person, and now I'm going to turn over here and call this person names? No. I can't abide it. But you can't, it's very difficult to be against something, right? I mean, it's not, but it is. So what I wanted to do was be for something. So I thought, well, I'll make a space where we are for togetherness, where we are for vulnerability, where we are for not knowing, where we are for community, where we are for finding a bridge. What do we have in common? What do we share? I mean, again, we're identical. We're made up of all the same stuff. All people throughout all history want the same things. We want to eat and sleep. We want to feel safe. We want to have our children do well. We want to tell good stories. We want to have people laugh at our jokes. Like, that's it. And I write about this some in Start Right Where You Are, but seriously, I think if the aliens come, if they haven't already, you know, if they were to strip us naked and put us all on the world's biggest football field, you know, if you squint a little bit, we're identical. Tallest to smallest, darkest to lightest. You can't tell us apart. We're like ants, you know, like we look exactly, even men and women, we look exactly the same. And we want the same things. And we have approximately the same lifespan. We do pretty much the same things, you know, with our day. We think kind of the same, like we're so much the same. And then we make this big whoop about the little teeny tiny differences. Oh, well, I'm a Democrat. Really? Well, she's, well, I like half calf. Really? Oh, I only do soy milk. Like, really? Because that matters? Like, that's the thing? So, yeah, I want us to find what's common. You know, we're all dealing with addictions in our families. We're all dealing with how do I be a better parent? We're all dealing with, you know, how do I make ends meet? We're all dealing with health issues. We're all dealing with our parents and our children and our spouses and our lack of spouses, right? So how do we encourage the conversation around those things? So for me, it always starts internally. This is always an inside game first. It is, if I want kindness in the world, then it is my job to be kind. If I want a world that values creativity, then it is my job to value creativity, mine and then everyone else's. If I want to see gentleness, then it is my job to be gentle with myself and then with everyone else. And I do it in the grocery store. I do it online. I do it in my classes. I do it in my writing. I try to have my work be a force for that kind of compassion and understanding that I feel is so important. And I don't give in to the urge to be a smarty pants and call names, and I just don't. It's tempting, because believe me, sometimes people make it very easy to make fun of them, but I'm not going to do it. And then, yeah, I would encourage as much conversation as I can, particularly with people who share different beliefs than you do. You know, there are people in my family who have very different political beliefs than I do, and that's fine. Mostly we just don't talk about it. And if it does come up, I just really try and listen. I really try and listen. I try to hear, you know, what are they hungry for that's getting met? You know, where they think this thing is the answer, or this person is the answer, or this ideology is the answer. What are they wanting? What are they believing about the world? I one time heard a thing, okay, now this is how much science this is. My friend Keegan Michael Key and I were having breakfast, and he had seen a TED Talk about this and was reporting it to me at breakfast. So this is like the amount of research I've done on this. None. But it was an interesting idea. And the interesting idea was that Republicans and Democrats were defined genetically, that it had to do with your tolerance for risk. and that people who have a naturally high tolerance for risk tend to be more creative. You know, we have a tolerance for the unknown. You know, we're willing to dwell in that place of not knowing as we're making something. We're willing to start something not really knowing where it's going. We're willing to invest not really being sure if it's going to pay back or not. We don't love it, but we're willing to do it. And so this high tolerance for risk also lends itself to a higher tolerance for immigration, a higher tolerance for working on the public good, and a lower tolerance for risk, a greater need for security and, you know, tends to lead to a political view that is more closed, that says, you know, let's isolate more, let's not help, you know, let's know what's what, let's not be so open-handed, let's not. And when you think about it that way, it's like, oh yeah, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's just somebody's being a little more conservative in their thinking and somebody's being a little more liberal in their thinking, and neither one is particularly right or wrong. So so I find that useful to take people I disagree with and say, well, what is it they're believing? You know, what is it that they want or they need that they feel like is getting met? And then, you know, it is a very deep spiritual discipline to allow people to be wrong. And I would cultivate this in yourself if you haven't already, like the ability to just sit there and listen to somebody be wrong and just let them. You don't have to correct them. You don't have to be smug inside of yourself about how right you are and how wrong they are. This actually happened to me. Luke and I were going down to visit my mother who lives in central Mexico over the holidays. And so we're in line at the TSA at LAX, which, as you know, is like a lifetime. We're there forever. The line is so long. And we were talking about a new project Luke wants to do and could we obtain the rights to this source material. And this woman, 2 people ahead of us in line, all of a sudden turns around and she goes, I know something about publishing rights. And she starts to tell us this like 15-minute monologue about, basically, that's the story of Go Set a Watchman, you know, the Harper Lee book that she wrote before To Kill a Mockingbird, and but then it was kind of unpublishable, and then she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, and it was incredibly famous, and then she never wanted to publish anything else, and she and her sister protected that her whole lives, and then her sister died, and she was a little unwell, and the publisher still had the rights, so then they published Go Set a Watchman, and it didn't get very well reviewed, but it sold a ton of copies. Okay, maybe you heard about this. And as it happens, it's a story I know because I'm interested in publishing and Harper Lee. And so she tells this whole story, and she's mostly right. You know, she's got about 80% of her story right. Why she feels the need to tell us about it, I have no idea. And I'm kind of going, yeah, and right, because her sister, and finally I thought, Sam, just let her tell the story. She wants to tell you the story. Just let her tell you the story. So she did. And it was kind of an interesting way to pass 15 minutes in line at the LAX. Let's see. Sonia says, thanks so much for pushing through and doing it, Sam. You're welcome, Sonia. And so I hope you'll pick something that you're afraid to do and do it today. Anne says, I think of the song lyrics from Gilbert and Sullivan's Iolanthe. Oh my gosh, I don't even know this Gilbert and Sullivan. I often think it's comical, fa la la, how nature does contrive, fa la la, that every boy and every gal that's born into the world alive is either a little liberal or else a little conservative. I don't know how that scans, but excellent. Thank you for sharing. That's great. Let's see, anything on the Facebook page? How are we doing here? Good. Any other questions? Anything you guys are thinking about or wondering about? Good. I want to give it just a minute because I know that sometimes I ask and then you think of something and type it, and I don't see it until we're done. So, wow, there's so many of you here. This is so heartening to me. So it's my plan to do this every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, so whatever time that is for you. And, you know, we'll just do this. I'll pray and we'll talk. And I'm not sure, you know, what my goal is in this. I can't wait to see what the results are. But I'm excited about being with you in a slightly different way. And if you've got somebody that you think would enjoy this, or might be inspired by it, or might have something to contribute, I would love to have you invite them. The recording for this will live on our Organized Artist Company Facebook page, so you can just watch it there anytime. It also, within a day or so, it'll also be posted on our YouTube channel, so you can also find it on YouTube. But it's nice to be here live all together. Good. Let's see. Samantha says, as you're speaking, I envision the Coke commercial where we all hold hands and sing. Yeah, you know, and I get it that it sounds a little like fa la la, but my experience is that, like, no matter how different people seem, or how armored up people are, or how, like, totally different from you someone seems like they are, if you spend about 8 seconds really being with them, you know, holding eye contact with them gently, not confrontingly, gently, and holding space in your heart for them, like, it takes about 11 seconds to figure out how you're exactly the same. There's a terrific website called Soul Pancake. I don't know if you guys know Soul Pancake. It was founded in part by Rainn Wilson, the actor. And they do all kinds of really cool video experiments and creative stuff, just super fun, enlivening. You know, I think their mission has to do with looking at the deeper questions of life. And one of the little experiments they did was they put a big, you know, those ball things that kids get to play in, right? So they put a big box full of balls on the street, and they invited people to come sit, 2 strangers to come sit in the box of balls. And they had to, the assignment was to ask each other questions until they found some commonality, until they found some common ground. So people would get in there and say, you know, where are you from? Or do you have any siblings? Or what was your relationship with your mom like? And it was beautiful. I mean, again, within moments, people were like, oh my gosh, we've both had breast cancer. Oh my gosh, we both lost our moms in the last year. Oh my gosh, we both majored in Spanish poetry. Oh my, like, the craziest connections. We're so much more alike than we are different. So yeah, I get it that it sounds really kumbaya, and I don't care. I believe in it, and I'd so much rather live in a world of gentleness, and as much as possible, I make my world like that. I won't watch the evening news. I haven't since the early 80s. You know, I won't, all that hypey, warmongering bullshit, I just won't participate in it. Carolyn says, I'm frustrated with having different viruses for 3 months. It seems to kill my creativity. Sick, but not really ill. Sorry I came late, maybe off topic. You sound sick as well. Hope you feel better soon. I guess I feel that society judges people for being sick. Carolyn, first of all, I'm so sorry. That sucks. And I have to tell you, I haven't been sick for 3 months, but since Thanksgiving, right, I was traveling, something happened right before Thanksgiving. I can't remember what, like I was traveling or something. And then there was like I was at a conference, and then there was Thanksgiving, and then I was sick right after that. And then the fires came, and we had fires. Here, the Thomas Fire, the biggest wildfire in California history. We're number 1. That was just hugely involving and traumatic and everything. And then I got a cough from all the ash and smoke in the air that then turned into now bronchitis. So I also feel like I've been kind of out of it for months now. And it is a frustrating feeling. I am used to being a really high energy, like getting a lot of stuff done person, and I just have not been able to be that person. So, Carolyn, what I would say is, don't argue with reality. Rest before you get tired, eat before you get hungry, don't push yourself past where you can push yourself. On the other hand, show up and do the work you can do. But also understand that you have the opportunity to be really strategic about your work, right? When you have an endless amount of energy, it's easy to burn a lot of energy, right? My experience with people who have chronic illnesses, who have fatigue, autoimmune disorders, issues with fatigue, or other kind of big demands in their lives, like they got big full-time jobs, or they have children that demand a lot of their time, or ill parents, or something that's happening. It doesn't mean don't work on your creative projects. It means you have to be super strategic about how and when you work on your creative projects. You have to prioritize them, right? You got to do it first. You got to do it when you're freshest. You got to do it when you're best. And you've got to let go a lot of the stuff that you can't do. Let other people do it for you. People have been probably volunteering to help you. It's time to take them up on it. And there's stuff that you just have to let go, So the kitchen's not going to be as clean as you would normally like it to be. It's fine. It's a couple of weeks. You'll get it back, So really be your own best nurse, be your own best parent. And this voice that you have that says, oh, society doesn't value the sick, that's not society doing that. That's you. That's your voice. That's you believing that about you. So I would make some art about that. I would make some 5-minute art. I would do a drawing or make up a song or a dance about maybe where that idea came from, or how that feels to you, what that's like, what that looks like. What does it look like to feel like society disapproves of the sick? Okay. But I'm sorry, it sucks. And bronchitis sucks too. Carolyn says, sorry for the trauma and illness and devastation. Yeah, but hey, welcome to the world, right? I mean, we didn't get a guarantee of no trauma, no illness, no devastation. The secret is not to live a life that never has anything happen in it. The secret is, how do we navigate, right? How do we surf? Marilyn says, I'm finding that the more tolerant I am of others being wrong, the more accepting I am of myself being wrong, allowing for more creative risk-taking. Thank you for sharing that story of the woman in line, Sam. Yeah, you're welcome. Yes, and in fact, I've made a little discipline myself of saying, I am wrong. Right? I'll say it all the time. I was mistaken. I had that wrong. I made a mistake. That's my fault. I say it to Luke all the time. I'm sorry, that was my fault. Like, I lived in so much fear of being wrong, of so much fear of doing something wrong, of being caught, screwing something up. And finally, I'm like, oh my God, I screw things up all the time. Like, what is the big punishment around this? When you were a kid, your mistakes may have been greeted with criticism, or with a lack of understanding, or with derision or disappointment. But we're grown-ups now. We have an opportunity to greet our mistakes with some grace, some understanding, with some compassion, with some humor, to say, whoops, fuck that up. Super sorry. I mean, not to be glib about it, but, give yourself a break. And yeah, the easier I am on everybody else, the easier I am on myself, the easier everything is for everybody. Like, drop the punishment. The world does not need me to be the accountant. The world does not need me keeping score about who's done how many things wrong and how many things right, or how right I am and how wrong everybody else is. That's not helping. And really, you know, in some ways that's really the only question. Like, is what I'm doing helping? Is this vicious self-criticism inside my head helping? Is me yelling at myself about eating this thing helping? Is me getting furious at that person or this government official or that government official, is it helping? Because if it's not helping, drop it. Drop it. Let's see. Tricia says, I'm grateful to see and hear your beautiful presence as I scan my psychic landscape for new vision in 2018. Thank you so much for making this space available to us. Hugs. Thank you, Tricia. Thank you for being here. This is a great way where we're all connected and we remember that. Yeah. Colleen says, kisses, this feels really good. That image comes to mind as one of those wheatgrass shots at the juice bar. Just a little soul juice shot at the end of the week. Oh, good, thank you. Yeah, I like that image too. That's good. I'll be your wheatgrass. Yay! You know, nothing like a little discipline. It makes me do it too. It's beautiful for me to wake up Friday morning like, you know, feeling a little scared, like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? But then like immediately just curiosity. Wow, I wonder what I'm gonna say. I wonder if anyone will be there. Maybe it'll be just 2 minutes of me praying and then I'll hang up or something. Good, let's see. Tona says, we all need a little fa-la-la at least once in a while. Kimberly says, these words were good to hear today. Thank you. My pleasure, my pleasure. Good. Lulu says, if it's not helping, just drop it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You have the power to change your mind, to change your way of being in the world, and almost instantly. And really, you guys, start in the grocery store. It's one of my favorite things to do. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, I'm not in a rush. It's fine. You know, or they're saying, oh, I'm sorry, my toddler's being something. Like, it's fine. I feel that way too. I want to throw a tantrum in the grocery store too. You know, like, how patient can you be? How cheerful can you be? How kind can you be? Especially in the stressful situations, but even in the not stressful situations. You know, smile at the person at the gas pump. Be that force for politeness and kindness and, you know, give an unexpected compliment. Relax a little bit. You know, don't be so reactive and so quick to point and so quick to judge yourself or anyone else. Be someone's safe harbor. You know, I was with my niece recently who's 10, and she has a habit of coming and sort of just leaning against me, you know, like a greyhound dog. I don't know if you've ever been around a greyhound, but they do that too. They just come and like be that warm place for someone and for your own self, right? Carol says, I also have the power to take action on things that are bothering me in a mindful way. Yes, good. Yes, exactly. Yeah, if something's really bothering you, then again, much, you know, just like that $10,000 we were talking about, just like that, that, you know, not knowing where the goals are, I like to go, where's the action? Where's the divinely inspired action that's going to help me move through this? What's something I can try? What's something I can experiment with? You know, what's something I can put into beta? Tricia says, an old friend used to say, always add half a cup of amusement to every experience. That's great. You seem to do this with great grace, Sam. It's been such a great practice for me. I wanted to pass it along. More hugs. Thank you. Yeah, half a cup of amusement is a great recipe. I love that. Good. All right, well, we're just about at the top of the hour, and I don't want to keep you all too long. I will say that, you know, I lost a friend over the holidays. My friend Danny Breen died. He had been sick with cancer for a long time. And so it was not unexpected, although it was still super sad. And I was really struck by everybody's Facebook posts about him because everybody said the exact same thing, which is how incredibly kind he was. And if you've ever spent a lot of time hanging around with comedians, improv comedians aren't so bad. Stand-ups tend to be a little worse, but like there's a lot of competitive conversation, right? There's a lot of one-upsmanship. There's a lot of kind of knees and elbows. There's a lot of, you know, it gets a little hopped up. You know, you get a lot of really smart, really funny people in a room, and they kind of try to out-funny each other. And it can get a little exhausting sometimes. And Danny was never like that. Danny was the guy who would sit there and he would sit back and he would watch and he would laugh. And you never felt like he was waiting for somebody cooler than you to talk to him. He was always glad to see everybody. And I just thought, what a remarkable legacy. I mean, not only was he incredibly talented, he was a writer on a bunch of shows that you've heard of, it doesn't matter, but I thought that would be a beautiful thing when we go to have everyone who's ever met us say, the kindest person I've ever known. So this is what I encourage for you, is to make your legacy that of kindness. And again, starting with yourself. Starting with yourself. How can you be kind to yourself? How can you be amused by yourself? How can you be wrong? How can you be cheerfully anticipatory for the things that haven't happened yet? And graceful in loss. Let's go ahead and do one more round of breathing to close out this circle. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Creator God, we come to you with grateful and open hearts. We are so thankful for this circle this morning. I thank you for people's open-heartedness, for their open-throatedness, for their open-eyedness, for the way in which people come to greet each other in spirit and in love with the questions on our heart, with sincerity of purpose. Thank you for reminding us about the dirt and the mud that we walk on. Thank you for reminding us for the sparkle and the stars in our eyes. Thank you for the light inside of each and every one of us. Let us lift each other up and celebrate each other. Laugh at our mistakes and sing along the way. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for doing this with me. See you next week.